Takuto is a young man suffering from a serious illness, and he spent most of his time in the hospital so he could receive treatment for the disease, and he used that time by playing a civilization building game, which is a simulation game about ruling nations, and he became the top ranked player in it, and he preferred playing the evil nation, and that was because of its difficulty and lack of resources, because all his life he always loved challenges. But suddenly while he was playing his game, Takuto dies while lying on the hospital bed. But he is transported to the world of the game that he used to play, and when Takuto wakes up he finds himself sitting on a throne, inside a forest that looks terrifying. And while he is sitting enjoying the atmosphere around him, he sees a girl entering toward him named Ito, and she was the character Takuto loved the most in the game. So Takuto looks at her in a state of shock, because he does not know that he has moved into the world of the game. But he quickly realizes the situation, when Ito calls him King Takuto, and tells him that he was the one who managed to clear the nightmare level, and all that while playing with the evil nation, which is the hardest nation available, and also you are the legendary top-ranked player in the game. I also remember everything you told me, and how we conquered the entire world many times. I am extremely happy that I can speak with you right now. So Takuto asks her, were you the one who summoned me here? So she replies to him, no, I suddenly found myself in this place. It seems that we moved into the world of the game. Something like a miracle happened to us. But I am happy that I finally saw you. What do you think about uniting together and making an empire of our own? And conquer the world like every time? So Takuto looks at her while excited about the idea. And he extends his hand toward her so they can start the game together, but this time in reality. After that Takuto summons a scouting insect, and gives it an order to go explore the entire forest, because they must gather information before doing anything. So the insect quickly leaves to fulfill the king's command, and Takuto is able to see what it is doing through telepathy. And he says to Ito, right now we have 100 magic coins. After we spent the same amount producing this insect, right now we want to build a settlement, and that will cost us 20 coins. And Takuto thinks about how to increase Ito's power, because if any enemy attacks them, she will be able to repel them easily, without getting seriously injured, or even dying from it. After that Takuto sits on his throne so he can watch the forest, and until now he cannot find anything that indicates life there. And while he is talking with Ito, Takuto sees a group of dark elves through the insect, and he finds them in a miserable condition. So Ito tells him that is very good, the dark elves are a neutral group, but they tend to favor the evil nation more. But Takuto is afraid to see a settlement of another civilization near them, because he would be forced to go into war with them, and he does not have an army to protect him. On the other side, there is a group of dark elves exploring the forest, so they can search for anything to eat and take it back to the tribe again. So one of them asks, are we not supposed to leave these cursed lands? So the leader Gia replies, where would we go? We were expelled from our lands, and we have no other place to go. This area is full of plants and surely it has some food. So a girl among them named Amel says, the tribe elder told us that there is something evil in this cursed forest, and that will not allow plants and flowers to grow here. And while they are walking, and the leader Gia is looking at the sky hoping that he finds any food, and thinking about Emel's words about evil, they suddenly face Takuto and Ito, but they do not see Takuto in his human form, and instead they see a dark entity radiating an aura of darkness, and nothing is visible from him except his eyes. So Gia stands shocked in front of them, and says to himself, this creature is extremely dangerous, this is the embodiment of evil itself. If I do something wrong, this being could destroy our entire tribe. So Gia approaches him and kneels down in front of him, and the dark elves follow him one after another, and Gia says to Takuto, I am responsible for the people with me. I apologize to you for entering the forest without asking your permission. So Ito asks them, what brought you here? So he tells her, we were attacked and forced to leave our land by force, and our resources and food ran out, and there was no other place for us to go, and when we found this forest, we decided that we would enter it and stay there and eat from its fruits. The last time we ate anything was days ago. All we want is simply a place where we can live in peace. So when Takuto hears these words, he sympathizes with them, and decides to give them some fruits so they can satisfy their hunger. So Gia holds the fruit in his hand, and says to himself, this fruit is different from anything I have eaten before, and he looks at the people with him, and finds them enjoying eating it. But he remembers his family who are waiting for them to bring food, because they are hungry. So he begs the king to give them some of this fruit for his tribe. So Takuto sends down fruits and vegetables to them in abundance. So Ito looks at him shocked by what he is doing. After that, Gia takes them and quickly returns to his tribe, and tells them the good news that he finally found food in the forest. So the Dark Elf tribe becomes happy because they satisfied their hunger, and they are extremely joyful. At night, and when the entire elf tribe sleeps, Gia lights a fire and sits alone. So the tribe elder Molter comes to him, and tells him, the fruit you brought with you tasted very delicious. I have lived a long life and never seen anything like it. Where did you find it? So he tells him, while we were walking, we saw a legendary being deep in the forest, a being that when I saw it I felt that it was evil itself, and a dark and gloomy aura was coming out of it. So Molter looks at him shocked, and tells him, you met the king of evil and ruin. I remember that I read about him in the legendary books. When the world reaches a state of saturation, the king of evil appears, and brings ruin to everything, and forces the entire planet to start all over again. We did not know how true these stories were, but since you saw him, then all of this must be true. Since I came here I have been saying that this forest is not normal. Did you give him anything in return for the food? So he replies, nothing at all. All I did was explain our situation to him, and he sympathized with us and gave us the food. So Molter stands up from his place while shocked, and tells him there is no evil creature that gives gifts without taking something in return. I must go to him as the tribe elder and negotiate with him, and I will try to see what he wants from us. On the other side, Ito scolds Takuto because he gave Gia and his friends too much food, and she tells him, how could you spend all the magic coins on something like that? We have just started building the empire, and we do not know what awaits us. So Takuto apologizes to her and promises that he will not act without consulting her again, and tells her, I faced a problem with these elves, which is that I could not speak with them at all. I can talk with you well right now, but when I stand in front of anyone else I cannot speak at all. It seems that I am bad at communicating with people. So the scouting insect returns to them, and informs them that the elves will come again to the king. So Takuto says, but I have a problem with communication, and I will not be able to talk with them. So Ito suggests to him that she will speak with the elves in his place, so Takuto agrees. After a while, the tribe elder Moltar and the leader Gia arrive to Takuto, and Moltar thanks him for the food they received. So Ito tells them take the food and leave the forest immediately. So Moltar asks her to give him some time, so he can repay the king's kindness. So Ito refuses their request, because no matter what they do they will not be able to repay the great King Takuto. So Takuto tells her, what do you think about letting them help us explore the outside world, in exchange for the food they receive? It is better than giving them help for free. I am sure they want to build relations with us. They are probably afraid of me, because I am the king of evil. So Ito listens to his words, and tells them, we have an offer for you in return for the generosity of our king, which is that you explore the outside world, and come back and tell us what is happening outside. So Molter agrees quickly, and informs them about everything he knows or saw himself, and asks them if he can continue living inside the forest, but Ito refuses completely, and even threatens them that if they tell anyone from the outside world that they saw King Takuto she will kill them. So Moltar and Gia look at her while upset, but they are forced to accept the offer, because there is no other choice, and after that they gather themselves and leave. So Takuto asks himself while sad, was what we did really right? Or was there another better solution? If we let them leave they might perish outside the forest. And then a good idea comes to his mind, and Takuto calls Moltar before he leaves, and offers that they become citizens inside the forest here. So Ito looks at him while surprised, and tells him, what are you doing? So he replies, I am trying to use the asylum system, because the dark elves are neither evil nor good, and if we take them with us they will become evil beings like us, and we can make them work with us and build our empire. So Ito tells them, our king wants to establish a great nation. If you want to become citizens of it, we will provide you protection, food and shelter, but in return you will help us build it, and you will also become evil beings like us, and you will not remain neutral anymore. you will choose your own fate yourselves. But if you want my opinion, there is no better offer than this for you to accept." So they look at her while confused and unsure what to say. After a while, Ito and Takuto go to the elf tribe so they can inspect them, and transform them into evil beings after they accepted their offer. And the moment they arrive, the entire tribe stands in 2 rows and bows to the king, and one of the elves faints when Takuto passes beside them, because of the evil aura he possesses, and Takuto goes and sits on his throne. And Ito says, "Now we agreed that you will become citizens in our empire." And Ito begins the process of transforming them into evil beings, and suddenly the leader Gia feels a strange sensation, which is the feeling of hatred and resentment flowing deep inside his heart, and the elf tribe also begins to feel the same sensation, and they all salute the king together while crying. After several days of establishing the kingdom, Molter gives a map of the outside world to Takuto, and when he holds it he feels extreme fear, so Ito asks him what is wrong. So Takuto shows her the map and tells her while terrified, "We are in a very bad location, because there are 2 very powerful nations in the north, and those nations belong to good, and if they discover that we are evil beings, they will destroy us immediately, especially since we do not have enough military power to repel them if they attack us." So when Ito hears these words, she also becomes terrified and very afraid. After a while Molter goes with Gia and his assistant Emil to the king, because she is a smart woman and has knowledge about myths and other civilizations. So Ito tells them, "We will appoint you in key positions in the kingdom, and this is the decision of our great king. First the elder Molter will manage the affairs of the state administration, and Gia will become the military commander of the empire." So Gia stands up very excited, and tells them, "I will fight all enemies and cut their bodies apart for our king." But he quickly becomes shocked when Ito tells him that the king does not like wars, and he asks himself, why is the king of ruin peaceful? So Ito continues her words and tells them, "Take enough rest today, because tomorrow you will begin gathering wood from the forest, and you will build houses afterward, and you must keep the forest intact while cutting trees, and also replant them again." So the 3 of them look at her with confusion, and ask her what does replanting mean. So she is surprised that they do not know anything, and tells them it means you plant trees again where you cut them, so you can preserve the environment, and because we want to preserve our resources. By the way, do you know anything about magic technology, or anything about military magic, or the 6 main elements? So Molter tells her, "I know the 4 main elements, but I have never heard of any nation using military magic at all. Magic technology in this world is practically unused by anyone." So Ito tells them, "That is very good. We have a chance to surpass other nations if we use the opportunity correctly, and if we rely on magic, we will be able to make trees grow faster, and we will prosper in other fields, and we will achieve all that thanks to the knowledge of our great king, because he will use magic technology to create things you do not know." So Amel looks at her while smiling, and asks her, "Does that mean the fruit that King Takuto gave us was created by him? I found some seeds inside it and tried planting them, and they actually started sprouting." So Takuto and Ito look at her with surprise, and Takuto says to himself, "Why did I not notice that before? The food that I created was from my world, and that means I can use emergency production to create things that do not exist in the game. With this power I can create metals and weapons from my world, and become the strongest empire here, but this requires many magic coins." On the other side, in one of the 2 good kingdoms, the ruler is sitting alone, and she feels that the end of the world is approaching, and it is coming from the cursed lands in the south. So her assistant enters and informs her that monsters have appeared in the north, and they must go there and eliminate them. After that, the ruler and her assistant go together with some soldiers, so they can eliminate the monsters that appeared in the north of the kingdom, and while they are walking they encounter a group of ghouls. So the ruler speaks some magical words to release her power, and she manages to burn all the monsters, and after she burns them a light descends from the sky and flowers grow on the ground. So the soldiers look while surprised, and ask, "How did that happen?" So her assistant replies that is the most important skill of the ruler, which is that she can repel evil and always preserve good. So the ruler says, "By the way, I felt that the end of the world is coming from the cursed lands in the south, We must send our soldiers there immediately so they can verify the matter. So her assistant objects and tells her we cannot send anyone, because we are facing many monsters, and we need this military force so we can repel them. Besides, we cannot send them such a long distance without any proof of this claim, but the queen insists on her opinion, so the assistant is forced to execute her order. On the other side, Ida goes to the workers and motivates them so they build faster. Then she returns to King Takuto again, and asks him, what do you think about your new throne that the elves made? They also built a meeting room for us. We will create a powerful and great empire and conquer the world. While they are talking, Molter enters with Gia and Amel, so they can discuss what they will do in the coming days. But before they sit, Amel gives a gift to the king, which is special clothing made just for him, and when Takuto sees it he becomes very happy, and he feels extremely pleased when he wears it, because he will finally change the clothes he is wearing. After that they sit down so they can start their meeting. So Molter asks Ito, which buildings should we build first? We already gathered the wood, so she tells him the first thing we will build is a facility for producing food, because we cannot fight while we are hungry. Yes, we will not go to war right now, but caution is necessary. And another thing, take this plant and grow it. This is a meat tree. It produces mysterious meat with the taste of humans. It will provide us with a large harvest. Besides that, it is extremely nutritious. Do not worry, we will plant it temporarily only in the beginning. Anyway, we need a hut because this tree requires much care, and a building where we store food. Now it is time for research, and since we are a small nation we need to learn the newest types of magic technology, and the first type we will research is military magic. Because normal magic will not be able to target except a few people. But if we develop it we will be able to destroy armies easily, and we may even change the terrain of the land. Do not worry, magic technology is not complicated, we will be able to develop it quickly. So Moltar looks at her with great excitement. Ito continues speaking and says, as for military planning we will not focus on the army right now, because armies will not produce anything. Instead they will consume resources and magical energy. So Gia replies, but the warriors we have are very weak, and we do not have enough power to protect the king. And worse than that, Molter and I are wanted by other nations, which means if they discover our location they will attack us immediately. So King Takuto says, then we will produce a hero. His cost is high but he will not consume much afterward. So they look at him with confusion and ask, what is this hero? So Ito answers them in place of the king, and tells them the hero is an extremely powerful being, and he possesses special abilities. Besides that, a large army will attract attention toward us, which means the hero is the best option right now. Takuto says we gather our magical energy from the citizens, and the amount we produce is related to the happiness of individuals, which means the happier the people are, the faster the empire will prosper. And that is why you must take care of your happiness from now on. At the same time, in the nation of good, the captain of the soldiers enters to his assistant, and says, what are you doing here? We do not have time to waste, we have a mission in the south. We will go there to explore the cursed lands. Prepare yourself and come with me, we will travel for several days. While they are walking, the captain's assistant asks, why are we going to the cursed lands? So he replies, based on the ruler's wish, she wants us there, because she feels that something wrong is happening. She told me that the end of the world is approaching, and its beginning will come from those lands. And remember, if we succeed in the mission, we will receive a great reward. After that they go to meet the rest of the soldiers, and prepare to depart toward the south. At night in the forest, King Takuto and Ida go to inspect the construction works, and when Takuto watches them he becomes very pleased, and he sees the elves dancing with the meat trees, and says, I always watched the beginning of my empire in the game, and I used to follow its development while excited, but when I saw it in reality I felt a completely different feeling. Emil takes them on a tour around the buildings and starts with the residential area, and says we built the houses above the trees, but because we are planting the meat trees we had to stop building the houses for a while. But there is good news, the meat trees grow very quickly, and soon we will finish the food storage. Besides that, Elder Molter is leading the research on military magic, and we also discovered a nearby water spring, and we are currently conducting studies to build a water canal. So when Takuto hears this he becomes happy, because the dark elves are working by themselves without even receiving orders, and he remembers when they were weak and frail, but now they are living happily and energetically. After that they go to inspect the meat trees themselves, and Emil tells them we are close to harvesting their fruits. And all of this is thanks to the farming tools and equipment that the king gave us. And that is why everything is moving smoothly. After that Emil takes them to the water spring. And when she arrives there she becomes shocked. Then Molter and Gia enter and ask her why are you so shocked. So she tells them the water is not suitable for drinking, so Ito replies to her do not worry. It is like this but still usable, and she takes some in her hand and drinks it. So they look at her while surprised. So she tells them this is the cursed domain. This is proof that these lands are part of our empire. This cursed domain gives advantages to evil beings, and reduces the power of neutrals and the good. And since you have become citizens here you will feel stronger, and soon all our lands will transform and become like this. But there is one problem here, which is that the cursed domain will attract attention toward us. The three of them look at her while worried after hearing that they might attract attention to themselves. And they say we should provide complete protection for this place. But we are weak, and we will not be able to. So Ito tells them why are you so afraid like this? We will soon produce a hero. So Molter asks her what exactly is this hero. Until now we still do not fully understand it. So Ito brings out arms from her back and cuts the trees around them. And tells them I forgot to inform you. I am originally a hero, and this is only a small part of my power. So they look at her in a state of shock, and they cannot believe themselves at all, especially when they learn that this is not all of her power. And they become even more shocked when they learn that heroes grow stronger over time, even if they do nothing. So Molter says I am amazed by the power of Lady Ito, and by the greatness of our great king. We should build a large palace worthy of King Takuto's status. So Takuto refuses at first, because he wants to live in a house similar to the homes of the elves. So Ito suggests to him that they build the palace, because it will produce many resources. And it will also increase the happiness of the citizens. So when Takuto hears these words and thinks about them he agrees immediately. So the three of them thank him and praise him. At the same time the captain and his assistant from the nation of good are sitting while killing the monsters that appear in their path. And they manage to eliminate them all. After that they continue on their path. So the captain asks his assistant what is happening in the north. I heard that many monsters appeared there. So he replies yes, gulls suddenly appeared there and invaded the villages. And they caused great damage. And the ruler went there with some soldiers so they could calm the situation a little. But those gulls are still continuing to appear. The people in the north say that there is a sorceress there. And she is the reason for what is happening. At night the soldiers sit in a tavern so they can rest for a while, and continue their journey to the cursed lands tomorrow. So one soldier asks we have a great captain, and his assistant, and all of this just to investigate the cursed lands in the south. So why are we going with all these numbers just to explore them? Surely the matter has nothing to do with the sorceress in the north, right? Because if it is true then we will all die. So the captain replies do not worry, we have an idea about this mission. Which is that we are also going to hunt the dark elves. We believe they escaped there and hid. We must eliminate them. And that is because of their curse and their wickedness. Besides if they gain power they will attack us. That is why we cannot leave them. Anyway nothing is certain, we are only going to verify the matter, and if something happens then we can run away. On the other side King Takuto gathers the dark elves in a wide plaza, after he took from them the fruits of the meat trees, and he stands in front of them all, and transforms those resources into a scouting insect. So the elves look at it while amazed, and ask in surprise how did the king do that? So Ito says this is the power of our great king, that he can transform resources into living beings, and he still has many other abilities. Your loyalty and happiness will grant the king greater power. Salute King Takuto with me. So the dark elves become excited and begin shouting loudly. After that Takuto goes and sits on his throne, and he is happy because everything went exactly as he wanted. So Ito tells him thanks to what we did we were able to confirm that we can produce new units. And the next step for us should be summoning the hero. But we still lack many magic coins. By the way, which hero are you planning to summon? He replies the insect Queen Isla. I want to start with her first. because she is one of the strongest heroes of the evil nation. And she also has the ability to strengthen all scouting insects and make them capable of attacking. Besides that, she can produce larvae that will become a workforce for us. Isla improves our performance both in war and internal affairs. And she is the only one we will be able to control, because the others are difficult to deal with, since one of them loves conquering the world, and the other loves creating chaos. And since we are focusing on internal affairs, first the most suitable choice is the insect queen Isla. Once we begin wars, we can summon the rest of the heroes immediately. I only hope that they will not cause many problems, because honestly I want to live peacefully. On the next day the soldiers encounter the giant hill monster, and they prepare to attack it. But the captain stops them and informs them that he will deal with it himself, because they do not have time to waste anymore. And the captain approaches it, and draws his sword, and orders the soldiers not to move or try to distract it, and he uses his magic and strengthens his sword. So the monster strikes him with the club it carries, but the captain destroys it and swings his sword, cutting through its body. Then he jumps at it and splits it into 2 halves, and he manages to kill it easily. So his assistant praises him and says, with power like this it is impossible for us to face any problems. On the other side, King Takuto is sitting while eating and asks Ito how is the palace construction going. So she replies the dark elves are putting in great effort. So Takuto asks her that after they finish eating she should summon Gia and Moltar here. And he tells her, thanks to the scouting insects I was able to see the area surrounding the forest. So I wanted them because I want to explore the nation in the east. It does not belong to the nations of good, and it is neutral. I thought about negotiating with them so we can have allies. While they are sitting and talking, Takuto feels something strange. So Ito asks him what happened. So he replies, it seems someone discovered our location, because there is an armed group trying to enter the forest. I want to avoid attracting attention right now. Try to go and make them leave in the most peaceful way possible. And if you cannot, destroy that entire group. After that, the soldiers of the nation of good stand in front of the forest, and as soon as they approach it, Ito appears from between the trees, while disguised in clothes hiding all her features. So the captain asks her, who are you, and what are you doing in these cursed lands? So she tells them, I am a dark elf who fled to this forest so I could live. I am here with my sisters who live the same suffering as me. I do not want you to enter this forest. So the captain tells her, we came here on a mission, and we cannot return to our nation without completing it. Is there something strange inside this forest? We came here by order of our ruler, because she feels that a disaster will happen in these lands, and we must carry out her order. So his assistant looks at him shocked, and says, what are you doing? This is extremely confidential, and you should not say it like that. So the captain shouts at him to stay silent. So Ito tells him, my sisters are living in fear, because we suffered during a long journey until we found this forest. I hope you show some mercy to us. There is nothing here that calls for fear. We are only trying to live quietly and peacefully. And I hope you leave this place and return to your lands again. So the captain's assistant looks at her while shocked because he felt an evil energy coming from her, and he says to himself, the ruler's order to explore the forest was correct. Something strange is really happening inside. But suddenly the captain orders the soldiers to withdraw, so his assistant looks at him in complete shock and says, how? I feel an evil energy radiating from her. Are you sure about the words of this girl that there is really nothing inside? She must be trying to deceive us. So the captain shouts at him and orders him to follow the orders only, or he will punish him severely. But the assistant becomes extremely angry about that decision, and tells him, you have brought shame to us. How could you not follow the ruler's orders? You abandoned our mission, and you also revealed a very dangerous secret. And you want to return to the nation without completing the investigation. I will never return to the nation again without finishing the mission. So from now on I will take command. And the assistant orders the soldiers to enter the cursed lands and investigate them by force despite the girl. So the captain tries to stop him because he knows what is inside, but the assistant insists on his opinion. So Ito tells them, please do not act recklessly, we can resolve this matter peacefully. So the assistant shouts at her and orders his followers to capture her, and as soon as the assistant approaches her he suddenly faints. And when he wakes up again after a while he finds blood on his hand, and he looks at the ground and sees the soldiers' swords broken and blood everywhere. And when he looks at Ito he becomes shocked by what he sees, because he sees Ito hanging the soldiers using her arms, so Ito removes her cloak and tells him everything was going well. So the captain shouts loudly and says to the soldiers, someone send a messenger to the nation so they can inform them about what is happening here. So one of the soldiers who are still alive replies, unfortunately most of the ones here died, and only a few remain. So Ito tells them, I am the monster that you were waiting for. Now my curse will fall upon you. So the captain orders the soldiers to shoot their arrows at her, but Ito manages to deflect them all, and she laughs at them because of their weakness. And she tells him everything was going well, but your stupid assistant is the one who brought things to this point. If he had not tried to act like a hero, you would have gone back safely. So the assistant asks what exactly is happening here. I do not understand anything. So the captain replies, this woman is a witch, and what is happening in the north was also caused by a witch. Do you know how dangerous the situation we are in is? And he orders the soldiers to step back because he and his assistant will attack her. And then they rush at her and use magic to strengthen their swords, and they manage to cut 2 of the 6 arms she has. So Ito looks at them, while shocked. So the captain says if we cut all the arms she has we will be able to kill her easily afterward, and he rushes at her and manages to cut another arm from her, and his assistant attacks her and cuts 1 arm as well. So quickly Ito extends her remaining arms and pierces 2 of the soldiers with them, and she takes them hostage and places them in front of the captain and his assistant so she can use them as shields so the 2 cannot attack her. So the captain says she only has 2 arms left, if we cut them we will win, and then we will kill her and rid the world of her evil, and our nation will not be harmed after that, and to save the situation we must sacrifice these 2 soldiers. So the 2 of them rush at her. So Ida looks at them shocked, because they did not care about those soldiers, and they manage to cut the last arms she has, and the captain quickly attacks her to finish her, but suddenly Ida looks at him with a terrifying smile on her face, and she produces new arms and pierces them all into the captain. So the assistant looks at him and freezes in shock and asks her how. We already cut all your arms. So she tells him, I never told you that I only had 6, I can produce as many as I want. So the assistant realizes that all this time she had been deceiving them, and he shouts loudly at the soldiers and tells them, each one of you run in a different direction, because one of us must survive and inform our nation about this creature, and he rushes to attack her so he can delay her. But Ida uses the captain's sword and fights with it, so the assistant looks at her shocked and unable to believe it, and asks her, how are you using that sword? Even though the only one who knows how to use it is our captain. So she tells him, I stole his skills from him. What you do not know is that every time I kill someone I take their skills and strength, and not only that I also steal all their memories, which means I now know many things about you, and also the secrets of your nation that the captain knew. So the assistant stands there in complete shock, unable even to speak. Ito continues speaking and tells him, do you know what will happen to you and your entire family? So the assistant replies, you will not be able to do anything as long as I am delaying you now, and the soldiers inform the nation, in a short time reinforcements will arrive here, and they will kill you. But suddenly the assistant hears the soldiers screaming. So Ito looks at him while smiling and tells him, I ordered the dark elves to kill all the men who escaped. So the assistant looks at her angrily and rushes at her, trying to kill her. After a while Ito manages to defeat the assistant easily, and she pierces him with her arms and hangs him in the air, and tells him, none of this would have happened if you had listened to your captain. You would have returned safely to your homeland, and seen the family you love, and we also would have lived peacefully. And I would have gone back to sleep hoping that this would never happen again. But because of what you did, all of this will change. I will kill you now, and after that I will go and kill your entire family, and I will continue torturing them and will not leave them until I cut their bodies one after another, and I will go to every village or city you pass through on your way here, and kill every living being in it. I will destroy everyone who underestimates my power. So the assistant tries to beg her to show him some mercy, but Ito does not care about him and splits him into 2 halves, killing him. After that Gia goes to Ito and tells her, we killed all the soldiers as you ordered us, But I have a question for you. Will you really carry out the threats you told the captain's assistant? So Ida looks at him and laughs and replies, of course not. I will not do something like that. I am actually a very peaceful person. I was only joking with him. Come on, let us return to the forest again, we do not have time to waste. At night Ito goes to King Takuto, and informs him that a witch appeared in the north of the nation of good. So Takuto looks at her surprised and tells her, but there was nothing called witches in the civilization building game. That means we are not inside the game world. So Ito tries to reassure him, and tells him, look at the positive side, my ability here is tremendous. In the game my special skill was stealing a specific thing from the person I kill. But now I steal everything about them, even their memories. And that will be a very effective weapon. And thanks to this we learned what is happening in the other nations without sending anyone to spy on them. And fortunately the nation of good does not have enough military power, because of what is happening in their north. But it is possible that they might begin moving toward us. Especially since we destroyed all their soldiers. So he tells her, do not worry, they do not have any information about us. Even if they move they will proceed carefully. And then you will destroy them easily. But what worries me more is what is the reason behind the disaster that exists in the north. Do you know anything about what is happening there? Other than that there is a witch causing all of this. So Ida shakes her head no and tells him, according to what I stole from the memories, the nation itself does not know anything about this witch. All they know is that the scale of destruction there is beyond description. So King Takuto thinks for a moment and says, since we are not in the game world, then there must certainly be players like us who also came from another world. And it is clear that they possess power equal to the power of a hero. So Ito suggests that they negotiate with the witch there, especially since she must belong to the evil beings. But Takuto refuses because they will not be able to communicate with her. And if she goes out of control she could destroy the entire empire. And Takuto realizes that he must produce a new hero as quickly as possible so he can help Ito if someone attacks the forest again, or if that witch even comes near them. Then a great idea comes to his mind, which is that they should form alliances with the cities around them, because in the north there are two nations belonging to good, while east of the forest there is a neutral nation. And Takuto says once we finish building the palace, we will go explore that nation and strengthen our power. On the other side in the north the witch is sitting while dancing among the destruction and the corpses she killed, and she says the time has come for the next city. And the witch raises the corpses and controls them, with a terrifying smile on her face. At the same time in the neutral nation a group of ghouls attacks them. So the captain of the soldiers goes and destroys them all, but before leaving she is surprised by a group of giant hill monsters coming toward them, so the soldiers look shocked because of their huge numbers, and quickly the captain orders them to prepare for battle, and request reinforcements from the nation, and she asks in confusion what exactly is happening. After some time the construction of the palace is finished, and King Takuto and Ito stand in front of it amazed by its beauty, and they feel very happy while inspecting it, and King Takuto says I am very excited, in the future we should expand even more than this. So Ito looks at him while terrified and tells him we forgot something important, we do not have any maid to take care of you, we must find one for you quickly, what type do you prefer? So Takuto thinks for a moment and tells her I want someone I can talk with, because until now I cannot speak with the dark elves. And I feel extremely lonely, so Ito tells him do not worry at all, I have a good idea, just give me some time. After a while Ito summons Molter and Gia, and tells them I want all the girls of the tribe, because the king wants a maid, since Takuto does not want to withdraw important workers, because we are suffering from a shortage of labor. One girl will be enough to carry out the king's daily tasks, so Molter agrees and quickly goes to bring the girls. After Molter returns with the girls they all become afraid of King Takuto, and start crying, so Ida shouts at Molter and tells him not a single girl is able to stop crying when she sees the king. So Molter apologizes to her for what happened, and tells her there are two twin girls without a family. They are sensible but they have a small problem. I do not think they are suitable for serving the king, but evaluate them yourself, and he calls them so they can enter. So Ito asks one of the sisters whose name is Korea, it seems you have a painful past, what are those scars on your body? So she replies, I was sick and had the plague, and it caused all of this, but I recovered from it completely, and my sister also went through something even harsher. So her sister Maria looks at Ito with a painful smile and tells her, I ate my mother. So Ito and Takuto look at her shocked. So Molter says their mother decided to sacrifice herself for all of us when we went through crises including famine. She told us, eat me so you can live. So Maria approaches the king, and tells him, I will take care of you and do my best. So Takuto looks at them and agrees to appoint them in the palace. And after that everyone leaves. But before leaving, Molter goes to King Takuto, and tells him, there is something I want to tell you. Those two girls never cried even once after their mother died. They are trying to suppress their emotions. Please treat them with patience and mercy. After a while the two sisters stand in front of the king, and Maria goes to him holding a cup of water to give it to him, but she trips and spills the water all over him. So her sister quickly goes to him to clean it. So King Takuto looks at them and laughs, and tells them it is fine. Then Ito enters and informs Takuto that they have an urgent meeting right now, and she also informs the sisters that they will attend with them. After that the meeting begins and they talk about the internal affairs of the nation, and Emil stands up and delivers the latest news about the forest, and tells them after we finished building the palace we now have surplus labor, and our wood resources are good. We are ready to build the next structure. So Ito replies, we will build the structure we agreed on in the previous meeting, which is the hospital, because this way we will ensure the health of the citizens, and its construction cost is low. So Emil says, regarding our resources we have sufficiency in food, and all of this is because of our king's help in providing the tools necessary for agriculture. But unfortunately these things consume many magic coins, and compared to what we produce of coins the outgoing is much greater than the incoming. Then Moltar stands and speaks about magical research and tells them we finished the research on military magic, and right now I am the only one who can use it. But with training I will be able to transfer it to the rest of the army. I believe our magical energy has become extremely high, which means in the future we will be able to destroy armies in seconds. Then Gia stands and speaks about the military power, and tells them we added 5 new scouting insects to our forces, and we sent them around the forest so they can explore it, but we are cautious in exploration because we do not want to attract attention to ourselves. So the king says, we have important news for you. We decided to summon the insect Queen Isla. The only thing we still lack is magic coins. After a while they finally finish the meeting, and King Takuto feels happy with the effort made by the elves, and he returns again to his throne, while the two sisters walk behind him holding important papers in their hands. But suddenly Maria bumps into Takuto and all the papers fall on the ground, so her sister Korea goes to help her. But while picking them up one of the papers gets torn, so Takuto looks at them, and tells them do not worry. So Maria goes to him and asks, are you not supposed to be an evil person? Why are you not ordering the execution of me and my sister? Why does a great king like you show mercy to children like us? So he replies, because you are taking care of me. I know that you were intentionally making mistakes in front of me, because you want to die. But at the same time you are afraid to kill yourselves. And he says to himself they cannot forgive themselves, because they ate their mother in order to live. And they found no other way except trying to anger me, because they believe that if they anger me I will order their execution. And King Takuto approaches them. He tells them, you are alive now because your mother wanted that. You only did what she ordered you to do. She loved you and wanted to see you living in the best condition. What happened was not your fault. That is why you should not remain sad for long and should continue your lives. Because your mother did this so she could be proud of you when you grow up. There is no need to suppress your emotions anymore. So the two sisters look at him, and both begin to cry. After a while Ito enters to King Takuto and tells him, I have a report for you. The nation in the east is mainly inhabited by humans and similar races, but their capital is very far from them. And I discovered something important as well. There is a mine that produces many magic coins in the capital. So we must go quickly and negotiate with them, and take that mine for ourselves. And I also learned that they are currently at war with monsters, and there were no reinforcements reaching them from the nation at all. If we go and offer them help in exchange for an alliance and control over the mine we will gain a great deal. That is why we must send a delegation to the nation. On the next day, Ito and Gia go with some soldiers to the capital, so they can negotiate with them. And the captain of the soldiers stands before them while nervous, and says there is a very dark aura radiating from these people. And when she looks at the soldiers she finds them standing terrified and trembling with fear. And she says if any soldier attacks them out of fear we will all be counted among the dead. So Ito orders her soldiers to step back, and she prepares herself for battle. But suddenly the captain's assistant, who is still only a child, speaks, and greets Ito and Gia. So the captain looks at him angrily, because any foolish action from them could kill them in a moment. So Ida takes the captain and her assistant, and they go to King Takudo, because the captain wants to see the king herself, and while they are walking, Ito asks her, "Are you sure you will leave your soldiers outside the forest?" So she replies yes, the soldiers will not endure these conditions. After a while, they arrive before King Takudo, and Ito introduces him to them. So the captain says to herself, "What is this terrifying being? It is as if he is darkness itself. If I had known how dangerous this was, I would not have chosen this option." Then we return to the past. At that time the captain's assistant was able to defeat the giant hill monster, using his magical staff, and he stands before the soldiers proudly showing off. But suddenly the hill giant awakens again and stands before him, and raises his club ready to kill him. But quickly the captain arrives and uses her magic, and manages to destroy it. Then she goes to her assistant and scolds him severely, and tells him, "You are the only one who has a magical staff after me. Which means you must realize that one day you will become the captain. I am very worried about your future. You must be more responsible. Besides that we are going to the cursed lands to explore them, because the leaders asked us to go investigate the forest there. Because they feel that something dangerous is happening there, since monster attacks increased greatly recently, and they believe that the cursed lands are the reason behind this." Then we return again to the present, and the captain says I should not have brought the young child to a dangerous place like this, but suddenly the captain's assistant greets King Takudo, and tells him, "What do you think about us becoming friends?" So the captain looks at him and holds her head in shock, then quickly covers his mouth and apologizes to the king for his bad manners. But Takudo tells her there is no problem, I agree that we become friends and live in peace. After a while, they all sit down to have dinner, and Korea goes and gives the captain apple juice. And when she drinks it she finds its taste extremely delicious, and says I cannot believe something with this taste exists in the world, and I have never seen cups like these before. And while they are sitting, the captain's assistant stands up and introduces himself to the others present. So Takudo says this child has very high communication skills, he already started getting along with everyone. Honestly I wish I could be like him. Anyway, I need to show the captain that we want to form an alliance, and that we did not come to fight them. And he calls the captain's assistant, and suggests that they play a game together, so the assistant looks at him happily and immediately agrees. After that the two of them sit and play different games, while everyone around them watches in amazement, and the captain looks at King Takudo confused, and cannot understand how a being this evil could be so peaceful. And while they are playing, the assistant tells Takudo, "What do you think about selling these games to us? I am sure everyone there will love them." So Takudo immediately agrees, and says to himself, "I was already going to talk with them now, so we could become allies and trade together. Good thing this assistant mentioned the topic." After a while, Ito asks the captain, "Why did you come to our lands?" So she tells her our country has been suffering repeated monster attacks recently, and this never happened before, because monsters usually avoid large cities, but they keep coming to us continuously in huge numbers, so we came here to see what exactly is happening. So King Takudo tells her, "Your army is weak, right?" So the captain looks at him and becomes very nervous, because if he knows they are really weak she will not be able to negotiate well. And she tells him, "We are capable of defending ourselves, we were only surprised by the situation." But suddenly her assistant speaks, and tells the captain loudly, "But you told me that we are struggling against those monsters, and that our nation might be destroyed at any moment." So the captain looks at him angrily because he exposed their secret. So Ito tells her, "Do not worry. You probably think that since we are evil beings there must be something we are planning. But actually no, we only love peace, and regarding the monsters, if your city is destroyed, we will be next after you, which means our interests are the same, but in return, we will take a portion of your magic coin mine. So the captain looks at her shocked, but she is forced to accept the offer. After the captain and her assistant leave, King Takudo holds a meeting with Molter and the others, so Amel stands and tells them we agreed to export the games to them, and in return we will take some metal equipment from them, and this way we will save some magic coins. So Molter says we also took a portion of the mine in exchange for protecting them from monsters, and all of this happened thanks to the captain's assistant who exposed their secret. Then Korea raises her hand, and tells them originally we do not know many things about that city, and in order to develop international relations, we must learn more details about their customs and traditions. So Ito says unfortunately that nation is very far from us, and it is better that we focus on the capital which the monsters are attacking. Besides that we want an official reason to go there. So the two sisters suggest that they go there for the purpose of playing. Because the captain's assistant asked them to visit him so they could play together. So Molter tells them someone must go with them. And it cannot be someone with a high position, because we want to show that we came for a simple reason only, but King Takudo refuses because it would be dangerous for the sisters to go alone, so Korea and Maria go to him to persuade him, and in the end Takudo agrees. After that Takudo and Ito go with the two sisters to the hospital, so they ask him why did you bring us here? So he replies because I want to send guards with you, and I will not find anyone better than the doctors here to take care of you. As soon as Takudo opens the door, the doctors are standing waiting for him in their terrifying appearance, so Korea looks at them while frightened of them, unlike her sister who seems happy, so Ito asks Takudo why did you choose the doctors specifically? So he replies since they do not have work right now, because there are no health problems among the citizens, I thought I would send them with the sisters, so they could be their guards, especially since they have high combat ability, and I am sure they will perform perfectly in this mission. So Ito explains to the doctors the type of mission they will do, and as soon as they hear about the mission they become extremely excited, and of course they immediately agree. And they say we will live up to your trust in us, and we will complete this mission excellently. On the other side in the capital, the ruler of the nation is sitting working, but she is exhausted from the amount of work she has, and she becomes very annoyed because she thought the job of being ruler would be easy for her, and also because she is supposed to cooperate with the nation of darkness, in order to protect the capital. So one of the servants enters and informs her that there are people who want to meet her, but the ruler refuses to meet them. However, when she learns they are a delegation from the nation of evil, she immediately agrees. After a while the ruler sits in front of the sisters and welcomes them, but she becomes shocked when she sees their dark aura, and asks how could the captain of the soldiers form an alliance with people like these. The two girls before me are dark elves. I heard that the nation of evil accepted them as citizens. But why did they send children like them as a delegation to us? I feel they are hiding something. And suddenly the ruler remembers the captain's words about these two sisters, that the king himself is training them so they will become the future of the nation of evil. So the ruler feels intense fear and becomes extremely nervous, and realizes how important these two girls are, and says to herself if I make a mistake with them we will be in serious trouble. So the ruler asks them nervously what brought you here. So one of the doctors answers in place of the sisters, we came here responding to the wish of the captain's assistant, because he invited us to come here to play and explore the nation. We are here only to learn about your culture, nothing more. You could say we are just tourists. So when the ruler hears these words the tension leaves her, and she feels happy. Because she thought they came here for official negotiations, and she suggests that she personally take them on a tour around the nation. After that they go down to the streets together, and the ruler introduces them to the markets, and at the same time King Takudo is sitting watching them through telepathy without Ito knowing. At night the ruler says goodbye to the sisters so they can go rest for a while. So Maria and Korea enter the house in the nation so they can sleep, but they review everything they did on the first day. And Korea asks her sister what did you feel today? So she replies I heard some citizens saying we do not have food, and the monsters outside are frightening, and no one will come to save us. What will we do now? Then one of the doctors goes to Maria and gives her a plant he found in the markets. So Korea tells them this herb is extremely dangerous. It is a drug. Whoever drinks it feels hallucinations and great happiness. Even other nations forbid its use or cultivation. Although the ruler works with great effort, some citizens still grow this drug, so the doctors say we must be more careful while exploring the city, and protect the sisters with all our strength. On the next day the sisters go to explore the magic coin mine, and when they look at it they become very amazed by the beauty of the crystals inside it, and both of them remember their mother's words, and suddenly a man approaches them, and says, I learned that you are envoys from the nation of evil. And I heard that you want to control part of this mine. I work in trade here, and I want to talk with you about some business. What do you think about growing the drug plant with me? I will give you a share of the profits, especially since it sells for very high prices, and I will offer you other things too, but this is not the proper place to talk. Take this paper, it has the address where we will meet. Come visit me at night, and we will discuss the details there. It is good that I am dealing with evil beings because they understand the matter quickly. As for that ruler, she completely refuses negotiation. I am sure your king will be pleased with the offers I will present to you. And after that the man leaves. On the next day the sisters go to the ruler, and thank her for her hospitality. So the ruler looks at them while smiling and tells them the important thing is that I managed to build a good relationship with you. I hope you introduce me to your king in the best way. And while they are sitting, the man who wanted to trade with them enters with some people and weapons. So the ruler stands up angrily, and asks him who allowed you to enter here. So he tells her there is no need for this talk now, and he addresses the sisters and tells them, what do you think about the offer I presented to you? You did not come visit me at the place we agreed on, so I came to know your answer myself. So Korea replies, we will never deal with a person like you. I thought you would understand that when we did not come to you. And she addresses the ruler saying, would you allow us to deal with these people? Because if I act wrongly I might cause conflict between our nation and your nation. So the ruler immediately agrees happily, and the doctors go and stand in front of them. So that man takes out a syringe filled with the drug, so he can inject it into the sisters, and then they will never be able to live without that drug ever again. So Korea asks him, do you know what you are doing? If you harm us you will make an enemy of the nation of evil. We may be two weak little girls, but behind us stands a great king who can destroy this entire nation. So he tells her, do not worry about me. After I inject you with this drug, you will obey me immediately. And after that I am certain your foolish king will do everything I command him to do. And he gives the syringe to the assistants with him, and begins to leave. But suddenly while he is leaving the place, he finds his assistant's sword thrown toward him, and when he looks at them he stands shocked. On the other side Emil enters to King Takuto and Ito, and asks them, why did you send the doctors with the sisters instead of our soldiers? So Ito replies to her, because they have some special abilities. They are able to heal humans, but at the same time they can also kill them. They love humans. But they cannot become like them. You could say that they eat their brains. So Emil looks at her extremely frightened. At the same time the doctors are standing in front of the man who grows the drugs, while they have removed their cloaks, and revealed their terrifying forms, after they killed his assistants and skinned their bodies, and the ruler is sitting on the ground horrified from what happened. So Korea tells the man, you insulted our king, and that is a great mistake that I can never forgive. I will never tolerate the enemies of our nation. And she orders the doctors to finish him, so the doctors rush toward the man and kill him. After that Korea apologizes to the ruler because they dirtied her room with blood, and tells her the doctors were a little too excited. I did not expect them to go this far. What do you think about us cleaning what happened ourselves? So the ruler replies while shocked from what happened, do not worry, there is absolutely no problem. And she says to herself, how are these two girls not feeling anything after that terrifying scene that just happened? After the sisters and the doctors return again to the nation of evil, Ito stands in front of King Takuto and scolds him harshly, and tells him, why did you give the sisters the complete freedom that allowed them to behave like that? You were watching them, right? which means you had plenty of time to warn them not to do something like that. And she also scolds the sisters and the doctors, and tells them, I heard that you skinned a person in front of the ruler. Before you left I warned you not to behave foolishly, and this is the result. After a while they hold a meeting with Molter and the others, and they all read the sisters' report about the nation, and they learn that the nation is in a state of unrest, and also has a shortage of resources. Besides that, crime rates are increasing, and there are also endless monster attacks, especially the giant hill monsters that suddenly appear in groups near the capital. So Gia suggests that they send forces from their side to the nation. But Immel objects to the suggestion, because they already have a shortage in the number of warriors, and they would have to use the workers who are working in construction and agriculture, and that would lead to the collapse of the crops and the buildings. So Ito raises her hand and tells them, I will join the forces myself, because of my ability to steal skills, and this is a great opportunity to strengthen my power, but we still need more forces. So Moltar replies, do not worry, I will bring the people I trained in magic with me. They can kill small monsters very easily. But Immel still objects to sending Ito with the forces to the capital, because they relied on her to defend the forest, and if anyone attacked them they would be able to occupy them easily. So the king says, then we have decided to summon the insect queen Isla, and we will rely on her to defend us, and when the people present hear that they become very happy, because summoning her at this time is truly perfect. After a while King Takuto goes to summon the insect queen Isla, after they gathered the necessary resources, and Ito is extremely excited about the idea, but Takuto feels slightly worried, because if Isla goes out of control they will be in serious trouble. So Ida tells him through telepathy, do not worry, I will stop her if she tries to attack us. Then Takuto begins the summoning process, and a powerful beam rises into the sky, and the insect queen is finally about to appear, and indeed Isla stands before them and greets King Takuto, and tells him, I am happy to see you again, I feel great joy right now. I remember everything we experienced together, and the days when we were victorious are still engraved on my body. You are the only one who brought out all my power. Could you explain to me what is happening now? At night in the palace, Takuto explains to Isla what is happening, and Isla promises him that she will protect the nation of evil with her life, and tells him now Ito will take responsibility for attacking the monsters in the capital, and I will take responsibility for defending the forest. But suddenly Ito begins crying, and says, I will miss King Takuto while I am there. We have always been together since we came here, and now we will be separated from each other. So Takuto says, I will miss you too. I do not even know how I will deal with the dark elves when you are not here. On the next day Ito stands with the forces going to the capital, and she says goodbye to King Takuto and the others while sad, and greets them and leaves. So Isla says, now it is my turn to defend the forest. I am very excited for this mission. After that Takuto and Isla return to the palace again, and Takuto sits doing nothing, so Isla asks him, do you really not know how to do anything alone? So the sisters tell her Ito was always the one organizing the meetings, and she also took care of almost everything. So Isla approaches him and tells him, you are supposed to be the great king of Ruin. Do you know how people look at you? And you let women handle your affairs. Anyway, I want the sisters with me, because I still do not know anything about the forest and the buildings inside it, so I want them to show me the places properly, and the sisters happily agree. Then Emil enters and asks him to review the new changes happening in the forest. So King Takuto looks at her nervously, and says to himself, this is the first time I speak with someone alone without Ito being with me, and he tells Amel everything is correct, but try from next week to let the workers do other tasks. After that Isla walks with the sisters, and Korea and Maria introduce her to the forest, and while they are walking they see Emel looking angry, so Isla asks her what is wrong. So she says, Gia keeps breaking the training equipment every time. I am trying to arrange a budget for those tools, and he does not care about me at all. I already have a lot of work after Molter left with the forces, and Emil begins crying. So Isla tries to comfort her and promises that she will solve the problem herself. Isla goes to the soldiers' training area, so she can supervise them herself, and Gia comes from afar and destroys all the equipment they have, and tells them, do you think you will protect the king, while you are this weak? I will train you again from the beginning. So Isla approaches him and tells him angrily, while you train them, do not break the equipment again. So Gia apologizes to her and promises that he will not do that again. So Isla places her hand on his head and tells him, if you want to protect our king, then you must have some patience and calmness. After that they all go to eat lunch, and Isla sees the citizens happy when the mealtime arrives, but she asks the sisters, why did you make a special place for food? Why does everyone not eat in his own house? So they reply, because this way we preserve the amount of food. Because if everyone cooks their own meal, it would lead to a shortage in resources. At night Isla walks alone between the houses of the dark elves, and thinks about how to protect the forest in the best possible way. And while she is walking she hears the sound of crying coming from one of the houses, and when she goes to see who is crying she finds the sisters Korea and Maria, and asks them what happened. So they reply, we had a dream about the happy times we lived with our mother. We know that we must overcome it, but honestly we do not know how. So Isla suggests that she sleep with them to comfort them, and the two sisters look at her extremely happy. On the next day Isla goes to King Takudo, and tells him, I discussed with Amel about our next project, and we agreed that the best thing to build now is the Educational Institute, because it strengthens magical research efforts, and we also plan to plant sugarcane plants, so it will become a strong defense for us. By the way, how is Ito doing now? On the other side Ito stands in front of the monsters coming toward her, and places her hand on her sword and smiles. She rushes toward them and uses her arms, and manages to destroy them all, and the ruler is standing behind her watching while amazed by her power, and she becomes very afraid of her, and starts behaving strangely, so Ito tries to calm her down, but quickly the ruler gathers herself and leaves. After that Ito sits with Moltar, and he tells her, it is good that we managed to deal with the citizens. I expected that they would be afraid of us, but all this credit goes to the captain's help that made things easier for us. Anyway, what about your stealing of the monsters' skills? So she replies, everything is going well. Although they are very weak, I discovered that they have extraordinary skills. I am happy that if King Takudo knew what is happening he would be very pleased. And while they are sitting they notice a hill monster coming toward them. So Ito says, while surprised, I did not sense any magical signal coming. I must know how they appear suddenly like this, because as long as the situation continues like this, I will not be able to return to the king again. So the ruler goes to them and says, I will order the archers to shoot it quickly, but Ito refuses and goes to it herself. After Ito leaves the ruler becomes worried about her, so Moltar tells her, do not worry about her. That monster is extremely weak compared to her. Anyway, I will help her in this battle, and he uses his magic and sends her a large dark aura, so the hill monster begins choking, and at the same time he enhances Ito's strength, and she draws her sword and splits it in half, but suddenly she finds golden coins in its place. So Ito quickly informs King Takuda through telepathy, and tells him, I was facing a hill giant, and when I killed it I found coins in its place. And when I asked Elder Moltar he told me, it is the first time he has seen something like this, so when Takudo sees the shape of these coins he remembers that this is the symbol of another game he used to play, and suddenly a huge army of monsters appears coming toward them, and there are two demons with them. On the other side the ruler of the nation of good goes to the north to see the scale of destruction caused by that witch, and while they are walking all the soldiers suddenly die from a strike to the head, and the witch herself appears before the ruler. So the ruler tells her, we killed you 17 times before. How do you wake up again every time? So she replies while laughing, honestly I do not know the reason either. Despite my tremendous power you kill me every time. Whenever I see you I feel that my end is near. But this time I will be the one who kills you. And the witch summons her undead and orders them to attack her. So the ruler looks at them shocked. But quickly the ruler uses her fire magic and burns them all, and rushes quickly toward the witch and stabs her with her staff and kills her, and says, this is the 18th time I killed you. I hope I find out how you wake up before you rise again. At the same time in the capital the soldiers feel terrified because of the number of monsters coming toward them. So King Takudo tells Ito through telepathy, be careful, our enemy is from the role-playing game, where you play as the hero and begin a journey with your friends to defeat the strongest boss, who is the Demon King, and save the world. So Isla, who is sitting beside him and hearing everything, tells him, do you mean that the one behind all this is the Demon King? That means it could be another player like you. But it is not a problem. You played this game before, which means you know the way to defeat the demons. And immediately King Takuto informs Ito how she can defeat this entire army. Meanwhile, two demons are sitting talking, so the ice demon asks, did our ruler issue new orders? So the flame demon replies, no, there is nothing new. We are very lucky since we came to this land, all the monsters here joined our army. And with the new world we are in, the greatness of our king has not diminished. Anyway, take these monsters and attack the capital, and I will go somewhere quickly and return. And after the ice demon leaves, the flame demon looks toward the forest, and says, now the time has come for me to go there with my army. On the other side, Molter creates a dark aura to choke the monsters and enhance Ito's strength, but the ice demon feels that his power and his assistant's power are increasing even more. But he stands shocked by this powerful spell, because it affected the monsters but did not affect him. On the contrary, it increased his strength. And he asks himself, is the one who cast this spell an evil being? Suddenly Ito appears before them and kills the ice demon's assistant, and tells him, you must be one of the 4 demons, right? I came from the civilization building game, and I serve the great King Takuto, and now I will kill all of you. At the same time, the ruler is sitting terrified because of the army coming toward them, and orders one of the soldiers to evacuate the city of civilians. So Molter goes to her to reassure her, and tells her there is no need for all this fear, we are here to help you. So she replies, we are facing a massive army here. You can only delay them with your spells and our forces will not be able to resist all these numbers. But suddenly huge explosions happen in the battle. So Molter tells her it seems what is happening is because of Ito. Meanwhile, the demon throws some ice arrows toward Ito, but she manages to dodge them all, and goes toward the monsters and destroys them. And tells him, King Takuto was right when he told me that any hero in the civilization building game is stronger than anyone in the role-playing game. So the demon looks at her angrily and asks, why are you interfering at all? You are supposed to be an evil being, which means you should join our army and conquer the world together with the Demon King. We are seeking to create a world for ourselves, a world without humans. So Ito tells him, I have only one king, and he is the great King Takuto. I am here to serve him only and no one else. So the demon looks at her angrily and tries to strike her. But Ito blocks his attacks easily, and keeps provoking him and tells him, you are extremely weak compared to me. You exist in your game only to lose, and even after you came to this world you will still lose. And I will show you that now while I defeat you easily. Come on, attack me and show me your weak power. When the demon hears these words, he loses control and gathers all his energy and uses his strongest skill. So Ito looks at him and laughs at him. But suddenly she finds herself unable to move because the demon used ice on her, so she cannot move. And he raises his axe above his head and strikes Ito strongly, and manages to injure Ito in her shoulder. So Ito looks at the wound she has while shocked and unable to believe that this demon managed to hit her. And she looks at him with intense anger, and attacks him with her arms and kills him instantly, and says, how could I fail to block a strike like that? I found myself completely unable to move. But when she steals his skills, she learns that he has a skill called the Guaranteed Strike that makes the enemy unable to block it at all. She informs King Takuto that she managed to defeat one of the 4 demons, but she becomes shocked when she learns that an enemy has invaded the forest, and meanwhile the flame demon stands with the monsters at the edge of the forest. On the other side, one of the soldiers enters to King Takuto and informs him that the enemy forces entered the forest. So Isla tells him, we already know. The king has the ability to know everything that happens around us. Our forces led by Gia already moved there. Return to the troops quickly. So the sisters ask, are we in danger? So Isla replies, the situation outside is not very good. I did not expect they would come to attack us here. There is a possibility that the commander of that army is also a player. So King Takuto replies, it does not matter, we must fight him anyway. Ito managed to kill one of the 4 demons, which means we will also be able to defeat them easily. After that they all go outside because Isla is about to leave them and go to fight, and Takuto reviews his forces and says, we have the hero Isla. And we also have the Dark Elf warriors led by Gia. They are not many but their morale is high. Besides the doctors, yes they are only 3 but they have powerful offensive abilities. And finally the larvae created by Isla, and their presence beside the insect queen enhances their strength. So Isla says if I had known that I would have produced more larvae. Then Amel informs Takuto through telepathy that she managed to evacuate the city from the citizens who cannot fight, and Gia also informs him about the number of the army that entered the land, and tells him I see more than 1,000 people coming toward us, besides the monsters with them, and I also see terrifying beings that I have never seen before in my life. So King Takuto stands confused because the army coming toward them is truly huge, and says all of this is present and one of the 4 demons is also with them. This will be a very difficult battle, so Isla suggests that he produces additional units through emergency production to close the gap between them and the enemy. But suddenly King Takuto decides to enhance Isla's power, instead of producing new forces, so Isla feels energy flowing through her body, and she also gains new skills, and he tells her now after granting you this power, you will be able to destroy the enemy army, even if one of the 4 demons is with them. I place great hope on you in this battle. If you lose it we will be in serious trouble. So she tells him I am the insect queen Isla. I promise you that I will not disappoint you, and I will defeat all enemies to protect you. Then Isla spreads her wings and says goodbye to them, and tells the sisters do not worry about me I will return home again. And she greets them, then she flies and heads toward the army. On the other side the enemy army forces are walking in the forest, and 2 soldiers talk together, and one of them says there is a high possibility that invading this forest without the Demon King's permission means the commander is planning how to betray the king. And while they are speaking they notice a giant monster approaching them, but they are surprised to see small creatures moving on its body, which are the larvae of the insect queen Isla, and suddenly those creatures leave its body and rush toward the soldiers and monsters. The soldiers quickly use fire to push them away, and suddenly they hear someone speaking, so they look around searching for the one who spoke, but they cannot find anyone. Then Isla descends from the tree and reveals herself to them, taking a combat stance and preparing to kill them. After a while Isla manages to destroy the entire army. Then the flame demon appears behind her, and she tells him I am the insect queen Isla and I serve the great king. Are you worthy of what you are doing? Your fate will be like your friend the ice demon in the capital. So the flame demon looks at her and laughs and ignites flames around him, and tells her I am not surprised that he died. He was the weakest among us anyway. If you think I will be defeated easily then you are mistaken. It will be easy for me to crush an insect like you. Then I will go to your foolish king, kill him, and take his throne. And he creates greater flames around him. And the 2 of them rush toward each other. At the same time King Takuto sits watching the battle from where he is, and says to himself Isla is fighting the flame demon now. When a character from the civilization building game faces a character from the role-playing game, there appears a great superiority in power for the civilization character. We confirmed this during Ito's battle with the ice demon. It is only a matter of time before Isla defeats this demon. Right now Gia and the warriors are spread around the forest to repel the side monster attacks, and the doctors are also standing ready for any fight. Everything is going very well. But I feel that a problem will happen although I do not know what it is. Meanwhile the battle between Isla and the flame demon intensifies, and he sends flames toward her, but Isla dodges them all, and tries to strike him with her claws, but the demon retreats backward, and tells her honestly you impressed me. I have never seen a monster like you in this world, and he throws a flame arrow toward her, but Isla blocks it and rushes toward him trying to strike him, but the demon manages to escape from her. Suddenly thousands of larvae fall above his head, but he manages to kill them with his flames. And he looks at Isla angrily and tells her why do you have followers while I do not? And he summons monsters from the ground and orders them to attack her while he continues sending flames toward her. But Isla manages to block the strikes using her larva, and she thrusts her hands into the ground and plants the larvae inside the monsters and kills them all. And she asks the demon why did you separate your forces that were heading to the capital and come here to attack us? But the demon does not answer her question, and rushes toward her trying to strike her. But as usual Isla blocks his strike. So the demon tells her I hate what you are with great intensity. that you call yourself a servant while you are completely satisfied. And that might be the reason for my anger, because all of you are free, you can serve your king by your own will. What do you feel while doing that? So Isla replies, I feel happiness. Nothing pleases me more than being useful to my king. And what do you feel while you are forced to obey your master against your will? And you cannot even oppose him. So the demon looks at her angrily and releases intense flames, and tells her, once I kill all of you I will be completely free. And the demon releases more flames until they reach the sky and tries to strike her with all his power. But Isla flies into the air trying to avoid the strike until in the end he manages to hit her. But he becomes surprised when he sees Isla forming a membrane around herself to protect herself, and she asks him, is that all your power? So he looks at her with even more anger and throws fire arrows at her, but they do not hit Isla. And he keeps sending flames hoping to affect her until his magical energy runs out, and then Isla rushes toward him and strikes his stomach, and approaches him raising her hands and manages to split him in half and kill him. Then King Takuto tells her through telepathy, you did something amazing in the battle. I saw everything. So Isla thanks him for praising her. But suddenly the connection between them is cut, so both of them look surprised by what happened. And Isla asks what exactly is happening. And suddenly the sisters appear in the battle, so Isla looks at them shocked and asks them, what brought you here? So they say, we do not know anything, we were with the king just now and suddenly we found ourselves here. So Isla quickly orders the larvae to protect the sisters, and at the same time a terrifying smile appears on the face of the flame demon. On the other side, King Takuto becomes surprised when the sisters disappear from beside him, so he tries to use telepathy to communicate with them. But it is useless, so he tries to use his vision ability to know what is happening. But the vision becomes distorted, and he cannot see anything. But the last thing King Takuto manages to notice is the smile of the flame demon after death, so Takuto looks shocked. At the same time Isla looks right and left trying to understand what is happening, and suddenly the larvae move away from the sisters after Isla ordered them to protect them, so Isla tries to call the doctors so they come quickly, but it is useless, and she is forced to take them herself, and move them away from the place. But after she leaves she finds that the escape path leads them again to the battlefield. And when she looks at the flame demon she finds him sitting laughing at her. And she extends her hand to strike him and kill him. But she cannot because something like a shield surrounds him and prevents her. And he tells her, you will not be able to kill me anymore, because I am already dead. Did you think you would defeat me so easily? So she looks at him angrily and tries to strike him once and twice to affect him. But all her strikes fail. Suddenly the demon manages to control the three of them, and the sisters move toward him. So Isla asks them, what are you doing? Stay behind me. So they reply, we are not doing anything, we are moving against our will. So Isla tries to resist the control and stop them, but the demon looks at them and laughs, and tells her, this is one of my skills in the role-playing game. Now you will witness the death of these sisters with your own eyes. So Isla tries to resist but she cannot at all, and suddenly her body begins collapsing. Then the flame demon calls King Takuto and tells him, you are not better than me. You are another player, but you had the freedom to do anything. All my life I followed orders against my will. I will kill the sisters you love using my special skill. I hate all of you. And suddenly the demon begins to explode himself, and the place around him. After a while the scale of destruction that happened in the forest appears, and the sisters open their eyes and see Isla, whose body is completely destroyed and near death. So the two scream loudly and run toward her and hug her, and tell her, come quickly, let us take you to the doctors so they can treat you. So the sisters try to contact the king to inform him of what happened, but the connection between them remains cut. So Isla tells them, there is no need for treatment now. I want you to listen to what I will tell you now. I am sure you know that I will not live, but I want you to promise me something. So the sisters look at her while crying heavily and blame themselves, because they could not save her, and ask why whenever we love someone they die from us. We wanted to live with you in peace. What did we do to deserve all this? Let us die with you, there is no good in this life. So Isla tells them, you did nothing wrong. I am the one who was too weak. And Isla places her hand inside her chest and pulls out her heart, and tells them, forgive me for dying before you. But I have one last request from you. Take my heart and eat it so you inherit my power and can live. I want you to live your lives as you wish. I will love you forever." So the sisters look at her crying and scream loudly, because they are living the same suffering for the second time. And then the sisters eat Isla's heart while crying and gain all her power and skills, and the two of them hold each other's hands and walk together. On the other side in the capital, Ito and Molter are standing fighting the monsters together, and Ito says we must finish quickly and return to the forest again. But while they are fighting, Ito learns that Isla died, so she falls to the ground and brings out her arms in rage. So Molter quickly orders the soldiers with him to lie on the ground, so they are not affected by Ito's anger, because she keeps waving her arms and destroying everything around her. So Molter tries to calm her, but it is useless. After a while Ito calms down again, so Molter asks her while confused what happened. So she replies Isla died in the battle. At the same time King Takuto tries to contact Isla, but he becomes shocked when he discovers she died, and he falls to the ground from grief. But then he contacts Ito through telepathy, and tells her Isla died and left the sisters. I discovered they are moving toward the Demon King's stronghold. It seems they are trying to take revenge on him, after they took the hero's skill from Isla. We cannot lose them, so I ask you to go bring them back, because I cannot communicate with them. So Ito asks him to return to the forest to protect it, because if another attack happens everything will be lost, but Takuto refuses completely, and she is forced to accept the decision. After she finishes speaking with the king, Moltar asks her what is happening there. So Ito tells him take the forces and return to the forest again. I will go bring the sisters back. On the other side Korea goes to the Demon King's army, and meets there one of the 4 demons who is the Storm Demoness, and the demoness looks at her and laughs, and says you came alone to defeat me. You are a very brave little girl. So Korea asks her why do we always endure suffering? Why do all the bad things happen only to us? And suddenly a dark aura emerges from Korea and destroys the monsters. The demoness looks at her surprised and asks what did you just do? So Korea replies I am sure something terrible will happen to us if we keep relying on others too much, the whole world hates us. So the demoness tries to strike her with wind, but Korea stops the attack and uses her curse on her, and manages to melt the demoness's skin from her body, until she becomes a skeleton. Meanwhile Maria goes to another army of the Demon King, and meets the 4th demon who is the Earth Demon. And Maria keeps dancing before them while laughing and says the world hates us, and does not love us. And quickly the soldiers try to attack her using their magic but they cannot. Then the demon himself goes to her to kill her, but Maria uses her curse on him and manages to stop the machine he has from working. So the demon looks around confused and orders the soldiers to attack her, but they do not obey him, and Maria uses her power and manages to eat all the soldiers, and says we always eat the people we love so we can live, and she keeps eating everything around her, and approaches the demon with a terrifying smile and finishes him. After that the sisters go together to the Demon King, and he tells them I cannot believe that 2 little girls were able to reach here. In that case I will have to kill you in the most horrible ways, and after that I will destroy the world and everything that stands before me, and then I will obtain freedom. Honestly I do not know how you managed to eliminate my followers, but you will not be able to touch me even with a small scratch. And the Demon King creates a huge crystal barrier around himself with magic, but suddenly the sisters use their magic to destroy the Demon King's barrier. So he looks at them shocked and says this barrier prevents all magical and physical attacks against me. What is happening here? So the sisters approach him. The Demon King transforms himself into his true form, which is a terrifying giant monster, and tells them I should not have transformed from the beginning, but you surprised me with your power. I will not underestimate you. And he sends many swords toward them. So Maria looks at them while laughing and cancels the attack. Then Korea creates something like glue on the ground to prevent the Demon King from moving, and they take 2 swords and rush toward him. So the Demon King quickly casts magic on them, but the sisters manage to evade. So the monster looks at them extremely confused and asks what is happening here. He raises his hand and strikes Korea, but she manages to block the strike and cuts his hand. Then Maria jumps on him and stabs him with the swords he sent toward them, and Korea goes toward him and stabs him with the remaining swords. So the Demon King feels great pain and falls to the ground, But he does not surrender and says, "I will not die this easily. As long as I have determination and willpower you will not defeat me," and the Demon King heals himself. Suddenly the sisters combine their power in a single strike, and manage to split him in half, and the sisters say, "We will destroy this entire world to avenge our mother and Isla who died because of its cruelty." Suddenly Ito appears before them and stops them using the ice skill she gained from the demon she killed, and tells them the king issued an order for you to return to the forest. You already achieved your revenge. So they reply, "Not before we destroy the whole world." So Ito approaches them and tells them that this decision cannot be reversed. The sisters look at her with great anger, and tell her, "We do not want you standing in our way." So Ito hears their words, unable to believe it, and she reveals her arms preparing for battle, and says, "If I do not kill them King Takuto will forgive me," and she begins gathering her energy to throw it at them. But suddenly the sisters remember King Takuto's words, that their mother would be proud of them, and they remember Isla holding them in her arms, and they ask themselves, "If our mother saw what we are doing would she be proud of us or not?" And they drop the weapons from their hands and decide to stop here, and both of them apologize to Ito and ask her, "Can you summon Isla again?" So Ito tells them, sadly, unfortunately Isla already died, so the sisters burst into tears because of their deep love for her. At the same time Takuto sits lost in his thoughts, and says, "In the future we may face enemies from other games. If we repeat this same performance we will certainly die. I lost Isla because of my arrogance. I am the one who caused all this." And Takuto becomes very angry and strikes the ground strongly with his hand, but because of his power he destroys the floor beneath him, and falls into the street. Takuto looks at his hand surprised, and quickly goes toward the giant trees, and throws a powerful punch at one of them and uproots it from the ground. So Takuto says, while laughing, "I did not expect this power I have. How did I not notice this before? If I had known this information Isla would not have died." After a while all the forces return to the palace again, and Takuto apologizes to them because he is the one who brought them to this point, and tells them, "I promise you that I will summon Isla again. And not only that, I will summon anyone who died before." So Ito replies to him angrily, "In our current situation we cannot revive heroes right now. And if anyone discovers what we are planning they will all unite against us, because we will have to destroy the entire world." So Takuto produces many firearms and tells her, "We will kill everyone who stands in our way. Let us conquer the world now, just listen to my orders and carry them out." At night the Dark Elves create a memorial for Isla, so they can preserve her memory until the king summons her again, and the sisters are happy after hearing the news that the king might bring her back. After everyone leaves, Takuto climbs the tree where Isla's memorial is placed, and looks at the forest from above, and remembers the Dark Elves working with great effort, and says, "If all these people were not beside me I would not have achieved anything. And because of them our nation will be different from any other nation."